Salinas at the California Rodeo. At the California Rodeo. Oh, yeah.
Welcome, everybody, to Saddle Up Salinas, the California Rodeo podcast where we talk all things Salinas Rodeo. My name is Amanda Gianolini, and my co-host is Mandy Lindquist.
Good morning.
I'm going to let her introduce our guest today.
So today we're joined by a true all-around cowboy and a familiar name at Salinas, J.D Crouse, two-time California Rodeo Salinas all-around champion. From growing up in the Nebraska sandhills to competing in the National Finals Rodeo in both tie-down roping and steer wrestling, JD's journey spans the arena and beyond. With a career that's taken him from rodeo success to leadership roles shaping the business side of the sport, we're excited to hear his story and why Salinas is his favorite rodeo. Welcome, JD.
Hey.
Glad to be here.
Well, that was quite an intro. There's a lot on there.
Yeah, we have a lot of good things to talk about today. So I was kind of curious just about growing up. You said one-room schoolhouse. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So my family gets annoyed at me because when I find somebody new that I've never told, my what I'm most famous for, that's what I say. It's what I'm most famous for is riding a horse to a one-room country schoolhouse in the Sandhills of Nebraska until I was a freshman in high school. So I had to stop when I was a freshman in high school, but we actually moved to town. But it's kind of unique. I'm like not ancient old. My daughter, my 15-year-old, thinks that I'm old. But yeah, my sister and I rode horses in the spring and in the fall when the weather was nice, not when it was blizzarding in Nebraska. But my dad and I, before school would start, we'd go set up panels and we'd unsaddle our horses when we got to school and turn them loose in the corral and get them water at recess breaks and throw them a little bit of hay, or usually just move the pen a little bit so they could eat some fresh grass. But pretty unique. When I was I don't know if we started riding when I was in first grade, I think, and it was 7 miles one way. And then when we moved to south of Valentine, Nebraska, the ranch there, it was like 3.5 miles. So I have a funny story regarding the horses too. Do you care if I share it?
Let's hear
Go
it.
for it.
Yeah.
All right. So we had an old teacher. She was probably mid-60s, and after lunch she would usually nap. She would nod off at her desk when we were supposed to be doing our schoolwork. And I got the brilliant idea that there was a clock behind her on the wall, and when that clock got to 3 o'clock, it sounded off the alarm. And I thought, hey, what if I rolled that back an hour? We could get out of school an hour early. I wasn't really into school that much. And so I snuck behind her and crawled up on the thing and rolled the clock back, and zing, it went off and she dismissed us. My sister and I went and threw our saddles on our horses and we headed out. Well, the rest of the kids were sitting there in line to be picked up by their parents for an hour.
Yeah.
And so Sid and I knew that we had to kill time because we couldn't show up an hour early, right? And so we goofed around and got off of our horses and messed around and just took our time. And we rolled in there to the house, and Mom's on the porch going, "What'd y'all do?" I forgot, they had phones back then. So we got found out. All the kids were waiting for their parents and for an hour,
So what was your punishment? Did your teacher, did you have to write on the chalkboard after times?
Probably, yeah, probably. She probably made me write my first name is Justin, and I've always gone by JD, and I argued with my kindergarten teacher. My name is not Justin, it's J.D.
Oh.
That was probably my punishment, to write out my full name.
Oh, buddy.
Okay, so I have a funny story about that. My brother goes by JR, but he's Ronald Henry Roth Jr., and in kindergarten when they called Ronald, he did not answer. And so then afterwards the teacher comes up. Yeah, afterwards the teacher comes up and goes, "What's your name?" He's like, "JR." And she's like, "Are you Ronald?" He's like, "No."
That's good.
I love that. Oh my gosh. So that's definitely unique. I mean, and I like how your commute got better when it was only 3.5 miles.
7 miles horseback. How long did that take? I mean, as a kid, we don't have that much good perception of time, right? But that hours?
No, going home from school, we would race
Oh,
sometimes, but
makes
then
sense.
we would stop and rub dirt on our horses to make it look like they weren't hot because we were never supposed to race toward the barn, right? You're never supposed to
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
run home. And that that didn't work either. We got found out. Going to school, it always took longer. I
Yeah,
don't
right.
remember.
Because we didn't want to go. Like
Right.
I would, you definitely like purposely walk slower.
Right.
Yeah,
I
Totally.
7
do that
miles.
now sometimes coming to work. I'm like, oh, why is it so hard to get going?
Yeah.
Yeah, the traffic, it was so
It's
bad.
true.
Yeah.
That's
I don't know,
funny.
probably 45 minutes, the 7 mile deal. I think we could, yeah, probably easily do it in 45
That's
minutes.
so funny. That's a cool story. That's
I
neat.
love it. So, grew up on a ranch, you had horses. Was your family involved in rodeo?
My dad steer wrestled, and he did mess around with some rough stock, but he was a big guy. He's quite a bit bigger than me. He was 6'4" and stout. My uncle steer wrestled. My mom's sister's husband, Uncle Dave, he actually picked up for Harry, Vold, and rope calves and steer wrestled. He was ambidextrous, and I would go stay with him, and he taught me how to win. He taught me how to train a horse. He taught me how to be a man. Like he just taught me so much about life. He was like my second father. And he was really good friends with John Rothwell. My uncle Dave has passed, so when I say was, but John Rothwell made the finals in the calf roping multiple times, and I got the honor of John would come rope and give me little pointers and stuff. And so, yeah, my family was really involved in rodeo, and my mom was the biggest champion of me rodeoing. She loved the sport, um, and she would haul us around to junior rodeos and high school rodeos. And she worked in a Western store, Young's Western Wear in Valentine, Nebraska, for 33 years. And so we always had blue jeans, Wrangler jeans, and clean shirts, and nice hats. And so, yeah.
That's cool.
I think that a common theme in rodeo is either your family's involved or you find someone that's, there's good friends or even people that you don't know that well that will help you and they want you to succeed and teach you. So I think that's awesome because I know a lot of people mentor, the young up and coming athletes. So that's awesome that you had that within your family.
Yeah, and I'll say how I kind of got interested in rodeo was everything at branding time was a competition where I grew up. I mean, when we would this sounds like a big whopper, a big story, but in the south in Cherry County, south of Valentine, uh, our first branding we had 60 cowboys and cowgirls horseback, and we were gathering the first bunch before daylight, and we branded 1,300 calves, dragging them all to the fire before 11 o'clock, 11:30 in the morning. And so, like, when you get some people together, cattlemen and women that are horsemen and women together, and like a calf gets out when you're sorting the cows off from the calves, it's like, I mean, it's like four ropes go slinging at them like immediately.
Mhm.
And old guys, young kids, women, everybody. And then when you're roping, dragging them to the fire, if you miss like three, like guys are looking at you like, where, who are you? Like, you better get it together. So there was always like this pressure to be one of the best guys in the branding pen. And honestly, that was a big part of my desire because there were some really great cowboys and cowgirls in that country when I grew up there. And I just always wanted to be one of the best.
Well, and even before Salinas and the NFR, you won some state and national championships, right?
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to have some success in high school at the state level in the national high school finals, won the calf rope in there, and had good success in college at Weatherford, Oklahoma. Part of the national championship team there, had a lot of good guys on there. So, yeah.
So when did you buy your a PRCA card and start rodeoing professionally?
It's been so long ago, but I'm pretty sure it was in 1992. And the first pro rodeo I went to was in Vernon, Texas. Oatberry let me ride his bulldogging horse, which I was like blown away because I think
So
he'd won the world.
yeah.
Um, and by that time, but he grew up in Gordon, Nebraska, which was 90 miles from where I graduated high school, and he was like a legend, you know. And I ran through the barrier, both steers. Like I was so pumped. I was like, can't believe Oates let me ride his horse, you know. And I filled my permit that summer pretty quick, and um, I didn't know it when I was like, I think you're probably going to get there, but I guess the first time I entered Salinas was in '93. I thought it was later than that. But all of that just kind of runs together, that whole.
That was my next question. When was your first time coming to Salinas? And I mean, as a steer wrestler, I mean, Salinas is a big arena, but as a steer wrestler, it's got to feel real big.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And how was your first experience in Salinas?
Well, I have a story about how I got to Salinas the first time.
Well, let's hear it. I
Okay,
think this is
it's
a
kind of
great
long.
time.
It's kind of long, but so I was working in finance, and I decided to quit that job, and I was going to go pursue my rodeo dreams. And I lived in Oklahoma City at the time, and everything, you know, it wasn't like I had a lot of money, but I had a little bit of money saved up. But I bought a $99 one-way plane ticket to San Francisco from Oklahoma City on Southwest. I was just like, this is amazing. And then I had a bus. I'd never been on a bus in my life. I had a bus lined up to take me from San Francisco to Salinas. It's just like going to be perfect. I'm going to be in there the evening before and all that. I got it all dialed in, right? And I have a college degree, so like I'm not like completely stupid, but this was really stupid. So anyway, little did I know, Southwest at the time, that flight, one of the reasons it was so cheap is I flew from Oklahoma City to Dallas, Dallas to El Paso, El Paso to Phoenix,
Oh,
Phoenix to
gosh.
Las Vegas to Ontario, California, and Ontario, California to Oakland. Well, I didn't know that I had to get across from Oakland to San Francisco. So that was one problem. But the big problem was with all of the changing of planes, and there was several, um, they lost my rope can and they lost my bag that had my knee brace in it and all my Wranglers and stuff. And at the time I had two ACL reconstructions, and and I was nervous about running a steer in that big arena, going that fast. You know, I knew the setup, and so I'm like, I have to have my knee brace. Like I can borrow a rope, but they're custom knee braces. I have to have my knee brace. So anyway, I wait around. I mean, hours. Finally, my knee brace rope can shows up. I can't get to, it's going to be like nip and tuck. And there's so many nuances that happen, but rather than just renting a taxi and just taking me straight there, I got on the BART, and I took the BART under the bay, and I'm on there, and there's some really freaky people on this thing. And I've got my hat on, my
Oh,
cowboy hat. I've got all this stuff. And thank God, and I know it's going to be close for me to get to the Greyhound bus station in San Francisco. It's like 10 o'clock at night. Okay. 10:30, something like that. This lady, she's like, what are you doing? And I had to change trains in there somewhere. And I told her, and she looks at me like, you've got to be crazy. She takes her heels off, puts them in her purse, and she's like directing me, telling me to go up the escalators and go right and go here and go there. And she grabs my bag and she's running with me. And a bus pulls up as we come out of the escalator. Oh, by the way, escalator was broken. It was stationary. So we're just hoofing it up there. And the bus opens like this. It's not my bus. It's just like a city bus. Opens the thing, and I just chuck my stuff in there. And I go, Greyhound bus station. And he goes, all right. And I wave at her, goodbye. And we go around the corner like 2 blocks, opens the door. He goes, go there. I grab my stuff. I'm running because I know I'm going to be late. And I run, and there's these concrete benches in the basement of this building. And there's these bums, and they have newspapers over them to keep the pigeon crap from falling on them. And I'm running through there like a crazy man. And the pigeons just take off, and the bums and the newspapers go flying everywhere. and I didn't know if one of them was going to get up and want to fight. I didn't know anything. I go to the elevator and I know that I've got to go up. I was kind of saw where the buses were. I got to go up 2 floors. Literally, y'all, I'm not even making this up. The elevator opens and I see a bus. Oh, just like that. That's my bus.
Oh no.
Yeah. So I have to hang out there for 2 hours, get another one. This guy pulls the candy machine out, changes his clothes behind the candy machine. Other guys are coming up, bumming money from me. I call my buddy, best man in our wedding, and I say, hey, if I die, if you never hear from me again, this is a true story. I call him on the payphone because I don't have a cell phone.
Payphone.
Payphone. I go, if you never hear from me, call mom, call dad. This is what happened. I died in the Greyhound bus station in San Francisco, California. This is what happened. I have my money in the bottom of my boot because I'm green as a gourd. Like I have not been to the big city very much, and so I get on the bus. The closest I can get is Gilroy, and that's what is that? An hour north of Salinas, maybe?
Yeah.
35, 40
45
minutes,
yeah.
probably.
Yeah. That's as close as like I can't get to Salinas. And and there's this guy with his shirt off threatening the driver as we're driving down the 101 or the one, or I don't even know what we were.
101,
And I
yep.
threatened to whip him like I had it. And my kids love this story. The guy walks up to me and I go, hey, you need to sit down. Like I'm sitting right by the driver where the coaches sit on the bus on the right up here. The driver's right there. Like I'm over it. I'm done. And he's up there. Hey, why didn't you go this way? What you doing, man? And I think he's high. And I'm like, dude, you got to sit down. And he goes, or what? I said, you don't want to know. And he goes, he, it was so bad. And so anyway, we get to Gilroy. Two people won't give me a ride. The bus stop is a ways from anywhere. There's a Denny's that I can see. I don't want to walk to the Denny's. It's like a mile and a half or 2 miles away. Finally, the last people that were at the bus stop in Gilroy give me a ride to the Denny's. I try to hitch a ride to Salinas. Nobody will give me. So anyway, I finally call a taxi, and a $75 taxi ride, I think it was back then. And this guy took me on a bunch of dirt roads and stuff. And I thought I was really going to die then.
Oh
But
my
finally, I got there
gosh.
at like 6 a.m. I knew Bill Cresta, if y'all know Bill. He had an old Scotty, which there weren't very many of those, and those were really cool rodeo rigs. And I saw a Scotty, and it was Bill's trailer, and I opened the door and I threw my stuff in there, and I just laid down for like not very long. And then all the guys that were with him, I don't remember if Trav Cadwell and Casey Mitten, but I think they were in his Scotty. It's so blurry, but I know they were around and they rode his horses and stuff that year. And they're stepping over me and like it's time to go. And I'm like, oh, that was my first trip. So then I get to the arena and I'm ready to run one. Like I am pumped. And I go through all of this to get there. And in college, everywhere, amateur rodeoing, a little bit of pro rodeoing I'd done, I'd always been able to get on a horse because I rodeoed in Oklahoma and South Dakota, like all over. And generally, people thought I was an okay cowboy, okay hand, and I wasn't going to mess up their horse, right? That's the biggest thing. You're going to be hanging off of them and riding them like an idiot and pulling on them or whatever. And also, there's a halfway decent chance I might actually win something, and they're in the business, the mount business. So they win if I win. And anyway, I'm there forever trying to bum a ride, trying to get on a bulldogging horse. And I don't know hardly anybody on the West Coast, and I can't get a ride. And I don't know if I don't know what it was. And part of it is in Oklahoma, the arenas are small, the setups are short, and so you're not going to, tire your horses out. Well, Salinas is a different story. They need to save those runs. And so finally, I see Mike Sanders. Mike made the finals a few times, and he was with Kendall Bolding, and Kendall's from Oklahoma. Kendall made the finals, and they have a horse called Bugsy, and I'd seen him go. And I asked Sanders, and he looked at me, and I think he just had pity on me.
Yeah.
Honestly. I really do. Anyway, they let me on, and right before I went, a guy had a really bad wreck, upset the apple cart, horse flip, steer cut in front of him, and the guy got hurt, and it was like literally the guy right before I was about to nod my head. And so my heart is like right up here in my throat. I'm just like, and Sanders had told me ride left, ride left. And so I did. And I'm like way over here. I'm so far away from the steer. I don't think there's any way, but I'm not going to disobey, especially since I just saw that. And we're coming up on the steer, and I'm thinking I'm not even going to get to touch him. And we're going so fast, you know.
Yeah.
And anyway, here comes old Sanders, and he hazes that steer right into my lap. That steer steps way left to me, and I catch him and I tip him over. And it was like I'd won the lottery. I didn't place in that go round, but I didn't die, number one. And I actually made a half decent run, I think. Like I don't even really remember.
You made a run, so
Muscle
Right.
memory.
After all the other
after all
stuff.
that.
Yeah, but it ended up making the short round that year, ended up placing in the average, and I was just like, okay, this is my favorite rodeo. And so,
Surely it has to get better from there,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like, and I'm guessing nobody let you book or enter the next year or book travel.
Yeah, yeah, don't let JD handle the traveling. I did get better with that part.
Oh, and that's a bummer. You were by yourself. It's not even like you had a travel buddy with you. Like
Yeah,
that was a gauntlet of traveling.
yeah, yeah,
Jeez.
That is too much. And you're right. It just kept going. It's not like, oh, this happened and then I caught a break. It's like this happened, then this, and then you almost didn't even get to
Yeah.
run.
But you ended that story, that long, treacherous travel story, with this being your favorite rodeo. Why is Salinas your favorite rodeo?
Well, so the tri-tip, the strawberries, the people, the pageantry, the um it's just special. It's the bullfights, the um where I grew up, you had to be able to rope something out in a pasture. You had to like you had to be a cowboy. You had to be a horse person, and you had to be a horseman, and you had to be able to handle a lot of you know, things that are outside of your control. And so I was fortunate enough that because I grew up that way, like I did good at Cheyenne, I did good at Salinas. Like anytime there was a big arena, I felt like I had a competitive advantage. And and then the fans, and I don't know, it's just all of it. I would go stay at Jim Warren's, sleep in the sale barn, and we would cook breakfast. All the cowboys that were staying there, we would all go down to the sale barn kitchen. And my dad was an order buyer and a cattleman, and so I felt like I had a connection with Jim because he's a cattleman and been around that whole thing. My dad has been spent more time in sale barns than most men. And so I just kind of grew up around that environment. And so it really felt like home. And Jim was always so gracious. We'd rope and, eat. And so I think it was everything. And then so many good friends back then. Unfortunately, some of them I haven't talked to in 20 years, 25 years. But just really grew to respect and love the rodeo cowboy and the ag culture in California.
Yeah. 93 was your first run in Salinas, right? And to me, like 96 sticks in my head because that was the last year before they tore down the wooden grandstands. And now we have the new big grandstands plus the north and the south. But before that, and maybe both of you would know this because I was there, but I was a kid and I don't remember. Was there behind the roping chutes, was there stands there, grandstands? Because the boxes haven't changed, but around it, right?
Oh no.
There was nothing. It was just the back
Mm-mm.
pins and all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the wooden boards that Jim Rodriguez Sr. would
Ride on.
put all the names on and
Yep.
call out your name. Yeah.
So that was kind of like, that's cool that in your era you got to rodeo with the old setup and the new setup, because in that 97 years when it was all shiny and new, which is cool.
And believe it or not, our arena's a little smaller now
Is it?
than it was.
Yeah.
I knew some guys that told me that the score is a little shorter too.
Maybe for the steer wrestling.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe I don't.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
I thought I
the
heard
steer
that.
wrestling is one of the only events that is kind of normal, that you don't have, you get to come out of the normal side of the box. everything else, roping calves there, you're coming out of the header's box and
Team ropers.
Yeah, and that
team
was always
ropers.
cool.
That's different
Yeah.
and long score. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I grew up, speaking of going back to tri-tip, I didn't even know what that was. So let's get some tri-tip. I'm like, what is that?
right.
And it's a cut of beef. Like, and
Mhm.
I grew up in beef country. There's 187,000 mama cows in our county, 5,900 people. That's where I grew up. 5,900 humans,
Yeah.
187,000 mama cows. I grew up around a lot of beef, but we never ate tri-tip. I was not, they didn't do it like
West
that.
Yeah,
Coast.
it's a total West Coast thing. Yeah, us,
Yeah,
Santa Maria, there's a lot of, yeah.
yeah.
But one thing you didn't say that the best part about Salinas is the buckle.
Oh,
And you have two,
True.
right?
Oh, well, for sure. Like, it's right up there with the gold buckle for me. It's one of the most beautiful, iconic. I can't believe I didn't say that, but
I mean, it's right here. Look,
I know, I know. I mean, it really is like, and if you rodeo, you want to win Salinas. Period. End of story.
Well, we
Yeah.
love that, and we know that it's esteemed, and we try to do everything we can, when gold prices and everything go up to keep it the same because that is so important and iconic. And like you say, Cowboys don't just say that; they mean it. Like
For sure.
Tucker Allen still wears his Salinas buckle, I think, more than any. I saw him in San Diego after he won the world, and he had ours on. So, and
That's
we see
cool.
that a lot when they're going up there to get their NFR buckles. I'm always watching, like, oh, Salinas buckle, Salinas buckle.
Yeah.
So we're proud of that, and we love that the Cowboys are proud of it too. But yeah, I laughed when you didn't say that. I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna get him.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, I'm glad you did because no, you're right. And I can't believe
And you have two, right? All around buckles.
well, I got a
Or
saddle one year and a buckle. I got a saddle and spurs maybe one year
Spurs,
Oh,
and
that's
mhm.
right.
a buckle another year. Yeah, saddle in '01 and unless whoever brought me my saddle didn't bring me my
Nope.
buckle.
Maybe they.
Well, I know at one point I think some people were upset that it was a saddle instead of a buckle. They wanted the buckle too. Now we do both,
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah.
but only till recently we just brought back the saddle a few years
Last
ago.
5 years, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So,
But you won the all around. So your main event was steer wrestling, or you roped calves and steer wrestled at all, throughout your career.
Yeah, I roped calves and steer wrestled. I team roped a little, but not ever on the West Coast. Never like I would team rope at the circuit rodeos back in Colorado and Wyoming. But yeah, steer wrestling and calf roping. And everybody asks, well, what did you like best? And it's kind of like whatever I won the most in at the time, because it was nice. Sometimes I was not doing well in one event, and the other event would kind of pick up, and so
It's tough to win the all around in Salinas because just every event in Salinas, I feel like, is a little bit tougher with the long score, the big arena, the fast cattle, like all of that. And to do the all around is based on the most money won in two events, right? Or
or
more.
more.
right.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
that's a
Two or
big
more.
deal. Two or more. So that's a big deal.
Yeah, it's an honor. Yeah, sometimes you don't have to win much in two events to get to. You were the only one who won money in two events, and honestly, I don't even remember what I placed in. Like I was thinking about it. So, '03, right? This year will be 23 years ago. That's a.
Well, funny story. You didn't really remember the years.
I know.
I
I
I
thought it.
I
I
told
thought it was.
JD earlier I happened to be in our museum yesterday, and there's a big basically like a giant scrapbook with the winners from every year, and I'm flipping through and I'm like, "Oh yeah, let me look at 2000 cuz JD said he won and I was going to take a picture of the picture." And I'm like, "Yeah, no, that's not him." And then I went to our history book and it was 2001 and 2003. But I get it. It gets blurry. The
Yeah.
older we get, the blurrier it all
Yeah.
gets. It runs
You've
together.
got to admit at some level you're like, oh, is he messing with me? Is this guy jacking with
I'm
me?
like, "Did he really win?"
Who's this
Did he just want to be on the podcast? That's funny. Fact check. You got to fact check, right?
Trust but
Totally.
verify.
Yes.
I wouldn't even have thought about it if I didn't happen to look at those pictures yesterday.
How funny.
But
So you won the all around in 2001, 2003. When did you go to the finals?
oh yeah.
2000. Yep. Right
Oh.
before that.
In the steer
Yeah.
wrestling?
Both
Or
actually.
both
Oh,
events.
nice.
There you
Yep.
go.
Yep.
So how'd that
That's the
feel?
only year I made it to the finals, and I was, yeah, fortunate enough to go in both events.
That's got to be taxing. Like
Yeah,
10 rounds in the tight end and the steer wrestling. That's a lot.
yeah, it was actually. You just don't, especially me being a first time guy, and um, this might strike you as obvious, but sometimes cowboys are a little bit stubborn and bullheaded, and I was maybe chief uh, bullheaded guy, and looking back now, uh, there's definitely I didn't I, I don't know why either, because I would normally seek counsel, but I could have done a lot better job of trying to ask for some advice from guys who had been there multiple times, and um, but I was just trying to stay focused on what I had been doing all year long, and I overtrained. I did so many things, but I had a good finals, and it literally. I mean, anybody that's made the finals, I believe, would say this, but I dreamt of being a full-time rodeo cowboy, making a living with a rope and throwing steers down since I was a little bitty. I was in boots when I was in diapers, dragging a rope around. Got in trouble because I tied my little sister up like a calf with my pig and string when she was in her crib, and
Oh
I mean,
gosh.
I would rope and tie anything. And so to actually get to our Super Bowl event and have a run there where I did good was an honor for sure.
Who'd you look up to? And I mean, besides your uncle who you mentioned, but tight end ropers or steer wrestlers, who are some of your idols?
Yeah. So like early on, Paul Tierney, because Paul was in South Dakota. Um, Oakberry. I rodeoed with Joel Edmondson. Joel was um, a guy that I looked up to. I always wish I was as strong as Joel because he could just muscle those big steers down. Butch Myers, um, of course, Joe Beaver. Like as far as roping, as far as the talent in the arena, Joe and Fred. I rodeoed with those guys. Like they, beat my butt day in and day out. And Trevor was young, but he was coming on. Um, I mean, a lot of guys. Brent Lewis, you know, Brent, I'd go coyote hunting with him and we were close to his place and anytime during Tucson and stuff. And he's a Cowboy's cowboy. But I think of guys that I even remember roping in Salinas, and the guy Trent Walls from Texas here. He had a really nice bay horse, and that horse really worked good in that arena. And just a lot of different guys. I guess I could keep naming
Oh yeah, ton of
guys.
good talent, ton of good cowboy talent.
Mm-hmm.
That yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
Absolutely. And then you went on to work for the PRCA and the WCRA, right? Can you tell us a
I
little bit
did.
about that, being on the
Yeah.
inside?
Yeah, so when we started having babies, I wanted to be closer to home, and I always, because I have a business acumen, or at least I have a desire to understand business, and rodeo was the business side of rodeo was really frustrating to me. And so it's very difficult to make a living rodeoing. Maybe a little better now, maybe, but things are just so expensive. But
Mm-hmm.
when I had an opportunity to be a part of PRCA, and I said yes, it was honestly being in the front office of Pro Rodeo was another dream come true. Like, oh boy, I can affect change positively in this organization. And so yeah, I was kind of like the second guy in charge, I guess. I was over properties, which is the
Mm-hmm.
sponsorship and marketing and arm that controlled the IP and all the licensing and everything. And admittedly, like I was so in over my head, but I was willing, and I did try to learn really quickly, and I at least knew the rodeo from the competitor side, um, and I was able to get up to speed pretty quickly on the television agreements and stuff. But kind of unfortunately, we were on the tail end of a major growth phase under Commissioner Hatchell,
Mm-hmm.
and they had purchased a lot of television and production. There was a lot of production expenses and commissions on big tour sponsors that were in arrears. And so when Commissioner Ellerman came in, he began negotiating those deals. And so I got to see some really interesting dynamics with some of the biggest players in Western lifestyle, and got to be friends with Jim Wilburn at Wintercom. Just I don't know. It was a really wonderful experience. It ended prematurely. I resigned at the NFR about a year after I started, and but anyway, it was a really fun ride, and it was an honor to get to do that.
Awesome. You mentioned you were a Xerox salesman too at one
Yes,
point. I find that
yes.
interesting.
Yeah. So I was broke cowboy in Oklahoma, and I sold my saddles, and I bought a Buick Regal and a suit, and I took a job selling Xerox copiers in western or the eastern half of Oklahoma City out to Shawnee and that. And it was so good. I cold called, knocked on doors for 30 days straight before I made my first sale. That first sale was like a $400 copier. I think my commission was $40. I used to Tony Robbins myself and pump myself up before I would pick up a phone and make a sales call. I'd do push-ups, and I'd slap real hard and I'd pump myself up. That phone was so heavy. And but yeah, I went on to like do really well, and got the county's business, got the school department's business. Just turned the territory around and actually sold more there than had ever been sold. And so, I mean, it was just God's favor. I worked hard. I didn't know anything. I was stupid enough to ask stupid questions, and just kind of hustled, just kind of hustled. So
Yeah. Well, I think smart people ask questions, honestly. That's how you get smarter. You weren't stupid for asking questions,
Yeah, we
but
weren't born knowing everything.
no. And so truly all around, you're like jack of all trades. And you told us your grandpa about to have a second grandchild, family life, your
yes,
wife, Amy. Where do you guys
yeah.
live now?
We live in Fredericksburg, Texas. We moved down here about 8.5 years ago. It's about an hour and 15 minutes northwest of San Antonio,
It's beautiful.
and we're in the hill country of Texas,
Mm-hmm.
and we love it. It's been really good for our family. And yeah, Amy and I have been married 28 years next month, and 3 kids, and a grandson who's 9 months old, and a granddaughter that's going to be on the ground end of July. So
Yeah.
I didn't know that I was going to be a grandpa, but I am like this soon, but I'm really digging it.
Yep. So
That's awesome.
when was back to the rodeo in Salinas? When was the last year you entered in Salinas?
I really don't know. I was thinking it was probably 05-ish. It was probably 04 because I went to work at the PRCA in 05. Yeah, it was probably 04,
And
I
have you
bet.
been back since or not at all? No.
I have not been back to Salinas.
Would you run another one given the opportunity just for fun? Was it fun?
Um,
I mean, was it fun?
yes. You kidding me? Like if I was in my 25-year-old body, I would run one in a nanosecond.
Yeah. Okay.
Pickleball messes my knees up now.
Oh
So
no. Well, you can come back anytime in July, not this July because you're gonna have another grandbaby, but you can always come back to the rodeo and visit and check it out and come see your pictures in the museum.
I
Yeah,
would
we'll
love
have
that.
to have
Honestly,
you.
I'd like to take Amy back, and it would be really fun to do that.
Yeah.
Well, just let us know. Just say the word.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
But yeah, thank you so much. Do we want to do any
I don't know.
rapid fire?
We were talking about like we got to do something fun with each of our guests, maybe some rapid fire questions. Like you said, we're new at this podcasting thing. We're trying to
Yeah.
find our own rhythm and what our thing is gonna be. But we thought we like maybe some rapid fire questions if you're up for it.
Yeah, lay it on me.
Okay. Okay. Favorite rodeo event.
Saddle bronc riding.
Favorite rodeo snack or food.
Oh, well, back in the day, it was sweet tea at Ted and Linda Weesey's
Oh
Cowboy
yeah.
Bistro, or their pie. She made some
Oh,
amazing pie.
That's cool. That's an old name. I just started thinking about other
right,
things too. Okay.
right.
Early morning or late night.
Early morning.
Boots or sneakers?
Today, sneakers.
We're going to speed it up. Favorite color?
Midnight blue.
Go-to pump-up song?
Oh, Eye of the Tiger.
Favorite place that you remember in Salinas or Monterey Peninsula? If you remember.
For sure, the tri-tip smoke right outside the thing right there.
Okay, one word to describe the California Rodeo Salinas.
History.
Like that. Superstition or lucky charm?
Neither.
Okay. Let's see. How about end it on one that doesn't have to be a short answer? The best advice you were ever given.
Be yourself. There's only one you, and you're a really miserable representation of somebody else.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. I love it. That's a great way to end it. We so appreciate you spending your time with us. We are trying to grow this podcast, so everybody subscribe, like, share. You can find us all over Apple, Spotify, off our website, carodeo.com. But JD, thank you so much. Safe travels to you, and we hope to get you back in Salinas soon.
Thanks, ladies.
Thank you.
Hey, bye-bye.
See ya.
Bye.